a, an absolutely classic call, the Mayday call. You need not say more, and you know we're speaking of Rick Jeanneret's call on Brad May's goal when he was a Buffalo Sabre. Brad May here, of course, at Toronto Maple Leaf, getting ready to play his 1,000th NHL game. This is he with Mr. Jeanneret tonight, offering up the autograph stick. There's just a great vibe around the rink today. Glad you could join us here live at the Air Canada Centre. Gate 1 to be exact. I'm Jody Vance. Welcome to Molson Canadian Leaf Nation pregame show presented by Tim Hortons. The boys are here, including the man who has my favorite call, of course. Yes.
RJ's terrific.
RJ is terrific, and so are
what a
you,
great call.
Mr. Bowen. You will be on AM 640 Toronto Radio this evening, yes. Marley's captain turned hockey analyst. The brilliant Mark Morrow is with us, and the senior reporter.
Senior.
It's been a long season. He's the senior reporter.
All right. You got one more game to really get up to that senior level.
We're glad you could join us tonight here at the Air Canada Centre as we count down to puck drop between the Buffalo Sabres and your Toronto Maple Leafs. And as mentioned, Brad May's 1,000th game. We'll also revisit a young lad's first National Hockey League goal in Christian Hansen last night in New Jersey. We got lots to cover. Let's get it all started with our headlines. They're brought to you by Ford, powered by you. Paul?
Jody, headline number 1, Mayday. Brad May plays in his 1,000th career game here tonight. Headline number 2, Moore on the line. Dominic Moore returns to the Toronto, the city, and the arena since being traded back on March the 4th. Headline number 3, Sabres on life support. And headline number 4, Marlies. A big week for them as they attempt to make the American Hockey League playoffs. Let's go to headline number 1. And Joe, you've been a member of the Maple Leafs and broadcast over 2,000 games for this franchise. Provide us with a perspective of what it's like for Brad May to get to 1,000 as a National Hockey League.
Very special, and especially for a guy that's not known as your classic skilled player. This guy hadn't taken a backward step since he got into the league as a Buffalo Sabre, and he has certainly never taken a backward step throughout the course of 1,000 games. Little story about Brad May. We were running a coaching symposium one weekend. He was supposed to be one of the guest speakers. He was in a car accident on the way from Kitchener back to Toronto to be a part of it. He had the tow truck driver drive him and the car to the symposium so that he could be a part of it. And it wasn't, I said to him, Brad, if there was ever an excuse to not be here, you've got it. But that's Brad May. He's a quality person. He's been that kind of a leader and that kind of a person on every team that he's been a part of.
Mark Morrow, his arrival cost the Maple Leafs a 6th-round draft pick in 2010. How has he helped a young emerging hockey team here in Toronto?
Well, I think that was a pretty good synopsis of the character he brings. Nothing will stop him. And he's become like a 5th coach. I know they have 4 coaches behind the bench, but he's like a 5th coach in that dressing room, working with the young guys, bringing that key veteran leadership that only experience can bring. And he's been to the dance, he's won the Stanley Cup, he's seen it all, and he's been through the wars. That's something that this dressing room really lacked at the time that they went and acquired him. He's brought it, and you see him, we see him all the time at practice, end of practice. He's working with the young guys, whether it's on doing shooting drills, passing drills, just having fun, sometimes even giving them fighting tips. He's done it all for this team. He's been the consummate leader for them in that dressing room.
Well, his career did begin in Buffalo 17 years ago and included a goal for the ages, a Stanley Cup, almost 2,200 minutes in penalties, and plenty of blood, sweat, and cheers. Here's Brad.
It's been so much fun. It's obviously it was an accomplishment to play your first game, but tonight's going to be extra special. I think it's more of a tribute to my family and everybody that supported me along the way. I've had to see myself in different roles, and the pecking order within a team changes year to year, and you just got to know your place and stay within that. Just be true to yourself, and it's so easy to be a hockey player, to be with a group of 20 guys, 25 guys, and the great trainers that you have, and it's such a tight group of guys. Everybody, on those bad days, somebody's in the locker room who's going to make you feel better that day, and you can't hide anywhere. It's a great group.
Transpired since the trade has been the effect that it's had on Jason Blake. His offense has dropped off appreciably, although he did pick up a nice assist on the Hansen goal last night. But Dominic Moore has found that he is in a different situation and also doing different things for the Buffalo Sabres, and his offense has not been anywhere near. It was interesting to find two guys that the chemistry really worked. They were in a situation where they were benefited with extra ice time, but it was a situation, too, that they worked together very well. Their speed blended each other, their work ethic, and the way they worked around the net. And then when it was all of a sudden disappeared, both of them have found that their offense has dried up a little bit.
Well, as Joe has alluded to, Moore's identity in Buffalo is certainly far different than it was here as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs. In Buffalo, just 4 points in his first 15 games with the Buffalo Sabres, and needless to say, it has been a transition for Buffalo's Dominic Moore.
What was the transition for you?
It's good. You know, it's obviously coming to a new team. There's always an adjustment period that goes on, but good group of guys, and you know, like I say, it's a situation where we're still in the mix and try and give it all our best shot.
Well, Dominic Moore, as we've alluded to, Mark Morrow certainly struggling there, but as Joe's talked about as well, his role with the Sabres a little bit different than it was here in Toronto.
And I think that's it exactly. He's not expected to go into this Buffalo team and contribute offensively. They brought him because of his intelligence. He's a fantastic two-way player that can play those key defensive roles. That's how he started with Toronto, and it was just mere opportunity that he paired up with Jason Blake, and like Joe talked about, the chemistry clicked. All of a sudden he found this offensive side to his game, but he's always been a defensive stalwart, playing that checking line. That's why Buffalo went out and got him. They've got enough goal scorers. They don't need to rely on him for offense. They've got to rely on the Vaneks, the Roys, the Pominvilles, those guys to go get the offense. They need somebody to shut the other team down. That's what they're looking for Dominic Moore to do.
All right, let's head to headline number 3. The Buffalo Sabres certainly on life support with 3 games left to be played, Joe. And all we have to do is to look at the Eastern Conference standings and realize the Sabres have got to run the table, and they need some help as well.
Boy, they need more than a little help, that's for sure. There's a huge game with Montreal and New York that'll decide their fate possibly, and of course the game with the Leafs is going to have a big impact on it as well. But they have stumbled. The injury to Miller, I think, is the key factor in their not making it this year. Those games that he was not available, I'm sure they would have come up with 5 or 6 additional points and would have been in the driver's seat instead of really looking at the back end of the headlights or the taillights of both Montreal and New York. And that's really unfortunate because the Sabres, I think, have got a pretty good hockey team, but that injury to Miller was just the death knell.
Well, this is going to explain it perfectly as to what Buffalo has to do to make the playoffs. And Mark, they've got to win all 3, but they need some help, as I've mentioned. And there they are. The Panthers must lose one of the next 2, and the Rangers must help as well.
Yeah, if the Rangers simply get a point, they're eliminated right there. And so they've got a hard match, too, because they have Carolina and Boston in their next 2 games, 2 top teams in the East. So if they're going to do it, it's going to be some sort of miracle.
Let's go to headline number 4. It is a big week for the Marlies. They entertain a very good Rochester team, good as far as the Marlies are concerned, because it's a team they should be able to beat and certainly get things underway. But the battle for that 4th and final playoff spot in the North Division, it's going to be tough, Mark, and maybe the Marlies have to run the table as well.
Well, unlike the Buffalo Sabres, the Marlies do control their fate. If they win, they're in. It's simple as that. If they lose, they give Syracuse that opportunity to gain that last point. And they stepped up last week and going into Winnipeg, a place they've never had success in. I know when I played there, I think we won maybe a couple times. You have to go back to St. John's to remember a win in Winnipeg, but they came out with 2 big victories. Obviously, another one big game, then they're going to need another big victory against the last place Rochester Americans tonight.
Manitoba in town Friday night. Why have they dominated the Moose this season in a season that the Moose have dominated everyone else?
I think that's the big question, because the Moose have dominated the Marlies since the Marlies moved to Toronto, and it's all about stepping up against the big boys, and that could be a potential first-round matchup. Actually, most likely will be the first-round matchup. So if the Marlies get in, they have to feel good about that.
And a reminder, tickets available, of course, at Ricoh Coliseum and on Ticketmaster as far as getting to the Marley games this weekend, and in the event of a playoff. And the Marlies are hoping it's going to be a long playoff run that might take them well into May and perhaps a shot at a Calder. But, of course, 3 games first to be played, and good luck to the Marlies tonight.
And you spend arguably more time at a hockey rink than anyone I know, and you're going to a Marlies game this weekend. So that's good hockey. If Paul Hendrick's spending his downtime there, you know it's good hockey.
Oh, absolutely.
And
nice green shirt.
Yeah, we got the memo, hey?
Yeah, the memo.
We did. We'll explain the green in just a few minutes.
Colors go all right.
That's pretty good. They did. They got some neutrals.
Senior reporter's blowing it.
Joe, we're sending you upstairs.
Yeah,
AM 640 Toronto Radio is where we'll find you. 7:30 puck drop. Yes.